Last house on the block. And we have Andrea and Wayne that are going to be our speakers for tonight. So.
I'm Andrea and I'm an addict.
Hi, Andrea.
Thanks for asking me to do a workshop. It's been a while since I've actually done one. I find that the longer you stay, the less you are involved. So I took the last house is on the block as the steps that I took prior to coming here. How did I end up here and why did I stay? So that's what I'm going to share about is that process for me. Before I do that, I did want to touch on the literature because that's how you share a clear NA message. It says, many of us ended up in jail or sought help through medicine, religion, and psychiatry. None of these methods was sufficient for us. Our disease always resurfaced or continued to progress until in desperation we sought help from each other in Narcotics Anonymous. And that's from Why Are We Here? And that's exactly how it played out for me. I remember, going from one drug to the other. I remember collecting people to try to change the way I felt, to try to fix me. Moving. I moved locations. That was a huge one for me. I've lived in more than one state. I've lived in more than one town. I collected ex-husbands even, because that was, this relationship will be different. I'm not going to get high in this one, even though I met you while I was high. We're going to fix each other. Or we thought that was a thing, Like I moved out of my house as a teenager from one addict household to the next addict household. From my mother to my husband. As long as I could still use. It didn't matter who, what, when, as long as I was getting what I wanted. So then when the end started showing up, I say the end, but when it became necessary for me to continue to use, and I started looking for alternatives to that using, I tried several things. I was put on probation for a DUI that they thought I was drinking. I wasn't. So I was going to the other fellowship. Did not help me. I wasn't ready. It wasn't the message I needed to hear. Probation continued to put me back and forth in jail. That wasn't helping either because I was getting high in there as well. I was sneaking the drugs into the jail. Then I tried an outpatient treatment program, with a piece of paper and all of that. And they had counselors and a judge that were going to fix me. And that was the beginning of my final end. It worked for a while. I was abstinent for a long while, and I was coming into the rooms. And it wasn't enough. They gave me this piece of paper that brought me back and forth constantly to meetings, but I wasn't listening when I was here. So I was hearing what was wrong with me, but it wasn't hearing the solution like I was in the meetings. So the program that I went through introduced me to a program of recovery here. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to stay here because the people didn't work. It didn't. It did not work for me. Changing my demographics, and I think the literature says something about that as well. Some of us sought an answer through churches, religions, or cultism. Some sought a cure by geographic change. We blamed our surroundings and living situations for our problems. This attempt to cure our problems by moving gave us a chance to take advantage of new people. Some of us saw approval through sex or change of friends. This approval-seeking behavior carried us further into our addiction. Regardless of what we tried, we could not escape from our disease. It was not until I until I got my sponsor, till I started working steps, that I started putting my disease back into its cage where it belongs. I didn't even know that was a thing. I will never be rid of it, ever. but I can get a break from it and I can stop acting on those behaviors. I remember being 2 years clean, and I did not use drugs, but I regressed back to that old behavior that I call an addict mentality. That behavior of thinking about acting out sexually, thinking about stealing, thinking about getting things the wrong way. And even though I wasn't using drugs, my addict had showed back up and showed back out. And for me, I decided then and there, that was when I started getting serious about this and made this my permanent home, my last house that I ever have to move to again. And I, put pictures on the wall and moved the furniture in. That was the reality for me. And when I left that other program that I was at, it was, I was terrified that if I didn't stay and I didn't make it permanent, of what I could and would do. So I became fully about the fellowship. I don't know any other way to put that. This is every other house before this house did not work, and the next house after this house is death, because I've tried every other way I know. I'm very fortunate that I have people that allow me to work on me, accept me, and love me when I'm a hot mess. They do. This fellowship gives us the ability to keep coming back. It makes it comfortable. Y'all know how when you're like binge watching Netflix and you don't want to get out of your pajamas, and then say your best friend shows up and you don't have to put on a bra? That's what this fellowship is like. You can be who you are, and it's okay. That was a bad terminology, right? You guys don't get it?
That was good stuff.
But having somewhere to always go and always return back to and be okay with just who you are makes it able to keep coming back. So that's all I got to share on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Good job.
I'm Wayne, and I'm an addict.
Wayne.
This is the first time I've ever done this, so if I screw up, don't hold it against me. And I ain't gonna lie, my disease has been really kicking my ass today. Last house on the block. Let's see. Been to prison, been to DRC, been to treatment, in and out of all kind of different cognitive, behavioral pattern change programs. And, it never worked for me. It was, how can I manipulate this? And, I graduated DRC Light one time, high the whole time. Went through that whole program. Judge shook my hand, took a picture with me and everything. 2 months later, I was back in jail. And that's when I found the last house on the block, because that time I got sent into RSET the second time. I'd been through RSET twice. Once in Bainbridge, once in Turner. And when I left Turner, I had ruined every relationship I ever had. My mother wouldn't talk to me. My brother and me, we don't get along. Any friend that I had in high school, they're all dead. I'm not just saying that. They all died before they were 27 or 28. And let me rephrase. When I got to Gainesville, the last one died in a bathroom stall in California with a needle in his arm. And that's my whole clique in high school. They're dead. I mean, that's how real this is. And when I got here and found out about Jason, it really hit me. Because even when I got here to Gainesville or the North Georgia area here, I was hiding out in the other fellowship like she was talking about. And just getting my little paper signed, bouncing around trying to get with this one or get with that one, make myself feel better in all kind of different ways. And it was at the other fellowship I heard this girl tell her story, and it hit me. And I was like, maybe I need to go back to NA because I got a drug problem. And I went back to an NA meeting that night, and this old grumpy son of a bitch that I still don't get, I love him to death, but I still don't get along with till this day. I was talking about maybe I should get a sponsor. And he said, maybe one day you'll want a fucking sponsor. Sorry about the language, it's just how I talk. If I offend you, sorry. That's why you have a sponsor. But that attracted me because it made me want to stay clean. Maybe I do want a sponsor, So I tried it, and I got a so-called sponsor at the time. He called himself a spiritual advisor, but he kept me in the rooms. He showed me how to 1, 2, 3 anything, and I'm grateful for that. Me and him don't get along today, but we'll get over it. That's something I learned at the last house on the block, and learned how to join a home group. I learned how to carry a clear NA message. I learned how to stand up for what I believe in. Because that's the beauty of NA, is you might see it different, she might see it, I might see it different, but guess what? We're entitled to that, because there is no set role model for an addict. It's open to all men. What does it say? Yeah, the recovering addict. But just that's what I learned, because I didn't have no family, I had no friends, I was homeless with a bag full of clothes at one of these little halfway houses / treatment centers, where you pay $200 something a week, and they send you up there to get a basic text, But today, I am so grateful. I paid like $12,000 for my first basic text. 'Cause that's what I did. Because that's exactly what I did. I paid $12,000 to go to a treatment center just to get a basic text, because that's what saved my life. That and the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And that gift of desperation they talk about, it hit me full face at that last house on the block. I'm sitting in there, I'm just like, what am I going to do? And taking the suggestions of like showing up, staying late, I applied that to work. Now I have a really good job. And I live in a really nice house now. And I just bought a brand new car yesterday, matter of fact. And all that materialistic shit came back. And I got here today, and that void it talks about in step 2, it's still there. And I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to fill that void with shit. Because me and my sponsor, my little home group network, are off tilter right now. And but I still got that last house on the block. It's still there. Door's still open. And I got y'all. And that's about all I got to say about it, I guess, because I really don't know much more to say. Thanks for letting me share.
Okay, we have a good bit of time left.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to share about their last house on the block?
I'm Tim and I'm an addict.
Hey, Tim.
I can understand where you're coming from. I've done RSAT twice. I just got out of a drug treatment program in prison. When I come into drug court and into the NA program, and like you said, that was my last house on the block, because when I got out, and they actually let me out of jail to go into the NA program, I had nowhere to go. And luckily, my aunt, the first couple of days I was out, I got to stay with them. And I lost a lot. This last time that I was in prison, I lost my sister. And, I didn't know what I was going to do when I got ready to get out. And I didn't really believe that I was going to get drug court or any kind of help or whatever, because when I went to court, the day that I actually got out, they were trying to give me 20 to 10. Recidivist, that's every day. And I was terrified, I really was. But the public defender that I had, I had talked to him several times, and then the day that I went to court, I said, Mr. McNeil, I says, well, what are they going to do? He's like, what do you mean? I said, I've never been offered drug court, or any kind of help like that. I said, I've been to RSAT twice. I just got out of a drug program, in the prison system. I says, and now, I don't know what they're going to do. He's like, I got this. Okay. So, when I went up in front of the judge and everything, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I just like I am now, I was sweating, I was nervous, I didn't know what was going to happen, and, the judge looked at me and looked at the DA and asked, what was the recommendation? And he laid my file up on this podium, and I was so embarrassed. It was that thick. I'm like, oh my God, And he said, I recommend that, he gets 2210 receivers for all this that he's got these pending charges, and luckily the public defender that I had, he stepped up and he said, well, let me ask you this. He says, why hasn't he ever been offered drug court? And nobody got an answer. And he said, well, he's been through RSAT twice. He just got out of a drug program in the prison system. He's got these pending charges, and he said, why hasn't anybody ever given him a chance to go through this program or try to fix my addiction? And, I think it kind of had something to do with it, but they told me that day, I'll never forget it, September the 6th, 2017, that they were going to let me go through the drug court program. And, they told me I was going to get out that day, and I'm like, I was shocked, I really was. Because for 16 months, I was in the prison system. I lost my sister, I lost my dad before I went to prison, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I get out. It's like you said, all I had was, the clothes on my back. Where am I going to go? Which I made a phone call to my aunt. She actually come pick me up and let me stay with her a couple of days. But I had talked to my brother-in-law in 2 days, and because, like you said, my brother was mad at me. He didn't want me. My mom was living with him. Wouldn't let me see my mom. Wouldn't have nothing to do with me. Didn't want to know what was going on with me. Didn't care, But I called my brother-in-law and asked him, I said, well, I need help. I said, I just found out that they're going to give me drug court, and I've got nowhere to go. I said, I've got nothing. And basically, that's what I had, was nothing. And he said, well, at least you're trying. He said, that's all I asked for. And he said, yeah, you can come home. And it was just him saying you could come home. Like you said, I just got out of my last house on the block, it seemed like. But, I'm going back into a new house now. Like you were saying, I burnt relationships, and been through marriages and destroyed everything. Where was I going to go? That's exactly what I had, nothing. So, when I come out of court that day, and I started, that was on a Wednesday. Saturdays, I went to my first JV. That's my home group now. And, that is my last house on the block. Just like you said, my next house, there is no more houses. Mm-hmm. The next house that they close, it will be a permanent door that I won't ever be able to open. And I know that. But I've had people that has given me a chance, and something I didn't think that I would ever get again. And it's going on 3.5 years that I've been clean. It's like you said, I've started my own business since I've been out. Now I'm working for another company plus doing my own, but I work all the time, but I still make time for my recovery because, like y'all said, without that I don't have nothing, and I know that. Because if I go back out there, it's like I've said in my home group meetings many times, I know I won't ever come back. And like you said, I know of a lot of people since I've been in the program that, they're not with us no more. Just because they didn't want to take that next step. And, not to toot my own horn or whatever, but I talk to a lot of people's got my number and everything, and I've helped several people, not go down that road. I've helped talk about it just by listening or giving them advice that I've had or whatever. And when you tell somebody, I'm a recovering addict of over 30 years, they look at you like, I said, yeah, I've been doing drugs longer than you've been alive. They look at you like you're crazy or whatever. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't even thought of when I was back, 15, 16 years old, when I first started doing drugs. Back then, it was real stuff. But now the stuff that they got out of here now, it's killing people left and right, and it's helping other people. That is my big main goal. I look forward to coming here. When I found out that I was coming, I've been looking forward to it all week. I took off work a little early today so I get everything, get up here, and I have been really looking forward to meet people and, thank y'all for letting me share what I've been talking about because it is real. And to me, also, this is my last house on the block, and I know that. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
Who's Nick on that?
Hey, Nick.
Man, this topic really hits home for me. I'm glad I'm in this meeting. The other meeting's titled Growing Up in an A. I figure I missed that chance. That's it. I had brief stints of abstinence because I would go to jail, and then I would try to stay clean as long as I could once I got out. And looking back, I can see the pattern, fourth step, right? Of some shit would hit the fan, and I would get high and be gone for a couple years, and they maybe get a little bit of clean time, not even counting it or anything, just some abstinence, and then some shit would hit the fan, I'd get high again. I was thinking about when I went to treatment. I was fortunate enough to go to treatment for 30 days, and it was a 12-step based treatment. And that was a blessing. I was kind of like pissed off about it because it's funny that when I got clean, I didn't necessarily want to get clean. I got clean because it was a last-ditch effort to save a job that I had. Okay, guys, I know I haven't been here, but look, I've got a drug problem. And they're like, well, okay, let's send you to treatment. And I'm like, fuck, really? Okay, run it, So let me pick for treatment. I'm trying to make a vacation out of it. I'm looking for treatment centers on the beach. They don't agree to fly me wherever I'm going. I'm like, all right, run it, P.O. shot that shit down. She said, no, you gotta go right here. And thank God it worked out like that, because if I got to go where I wanted to, who knows what kind of, recovery they could have gave me, I'm glad that I learned about the 12 steps, because they've been saving my life. And one thing stuck out to me before I left the treatment, a guy drugged me over, and he showed me a reflection of myself in a piece of glass. And he pointed to me, and he said, you see that guy right there? I said, yeah. He said, that's the only motherfucker going to keep you out of a meeting. And that really hit me home, because it's funny that I have to convince myself to come to a meeting sometimes. When in comparison, when I was using, I would sneak into your house. Not invited. And take your shit. But here I am, I'm welcome somewhere, and I gotta convince myself to go. And I've always just thought about that, just trying to, take that, because God, I was so fierce in fucking active addiction. That fucking animalistic, next, that hunt. Try to focus that in my recovery. If I could get just a piece of that, So I was also thinking that it being the last house on the block, I'm not going to say that this was like the last house that I had left. There's plenty of other routes I could have probably tried to take, but I know addiction is real, and if I get the fucking chance, it will kill me dead. So why leave a house if you're welcome? I'm happy where I'm at. I've experienced love in Narcotics Anonymous like I've never known before. The bonds that I have now, don't even compare to like blood family.
Thanks for
Thanks,
sharing. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm Melinda.
Hey, Melinda.
Everyone, I'm very grateful to be here. This is the last house on the block. First, I don't know, I thought it was a horror movie when I first saw that. And I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about. But then I'm like, wait, recovery, man. It's hard to know who I am most days because I didn't know what my own personality was. I thought I did, but I grew up using and living as safely as I could, not to draw attention and stuff, not be underfoot. Coming here it was very strange how I came here. I got evicted from my house in Texas, and like for a year after that, I was doing just whatever, working, because that's what adults do, but I didn't know how to act like an adult, like a true adult. I learned how to be a sick adult because that's how I grew up, what I saw. And, I come to these rooms, and there are people my age with, more clean time. And I'm like, well, first I'm like, what's clean time, and what's in A? And it's like, oh, there's more than just steps. There's, traditions and all these readings, and I was very overwhelmed. But I said, hey, this is my first meeting, I'm an addict. And they're like, okay, let's say your last name, let's teach you what anonymous means and everything. I'm like, okay, sorry, I'll shut up. They gave me numbers. They told me, get a sponsor, for the first 60 days, get a sponsor. And I'm like, fine, be my sponsor, Because at a funeral, I asked her to be my sponsor. She's like, sure. It's so weird how it's going, and it's been rough learning to live clean and be an adult, but I see everyone around me not giving up. The people I've gotten close to, they're still clean, they're still working it. They all know what it means that this is the last option they need to live life because it works. You just gotta follow the roadmap, stay where your feet are, don't get lost in your head. Whatever insanity is, don't pick up no matter what, all these cliches. It's going on 3 years and I'm just starting to get it. It's really starting to feel real to me now. I'm starting to feel like I might know who Melinda is now. And it's pretty awesome. I'm starting to, I have all the promises. And the biggest promise, stop lose the desire, find a way to live, have a fulfilling life without using. And it's an honest life, but it's kind of a pain sometimes. I fell down the stairs a couple months ago and my arm still hurts. And I just stuff like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did this and that, I still hurt too, I had to go to the doctor. I hear about people living life and staying clean, and it's like this house is where the solution's at. And never have I felt more acceptance and understanding and help. Because, yeah, I've tried other things before. Still more of a specimen, more of a statistic, more of a just, I didn't feel as human as I do now here in this program. I'm really glad I listened to this. And I didn't mean to share all that. That's what I didn't mean to share. But anyway, that's all I got.
Thanks, Melinda.
I'm David, I'm at
Hey, David.
A couple weeks ago, I was telling a story, and I mentioned that there's only one other time in my life that I ever felt like a part of anything before coming to the rooms. That's just a different phase of life. And, I think like most, I come in here and every bridge is on fire. Every house is on fire. Not letting nobody can give me time of day, and I came in the rooms and I was in the rooms for a period of time, and I chose to go back out. And during that period when I went back out, the disease manifested in something that, they always told me you pick up where you left off,
And for me, that was bullshit, because what happened when that first one went in, I had no clue it was gonna go that way, and when the gift of desperation, what someone mentioned earlier, finally hit, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity of the knowledge of the fellowship, and I reached out, and I came back to this part of the state, and got back in the rooms, and to say what I said at the beginning, and being here, it's the first time I've felt at home, truly at home. And when I was telling my story a few weeks ago, I mentioned that about, that there was all this other one time that I felt a part of, and that was a group of men who went and done a job, and there's just stuff that comes with that. And, recently in my personal life, some things have transpired, and, always up until probably the last few weeks, truthfully, I always look back on that period in my life and said, that bond I'll never have again. And in the last few weeks, there's been people in these rooms who saved my fucking ass. And have been there for me in all different levels. Whether, you could only say this, but a shoulder to cry on. Or, just somebody just to fucking sit there and just say vent. Or whatever the case it was, they were there. And, I sit here today and I'm going, I had that second opportunity. Circumstances are obviously different, but that one thing that I always kept kind of in my back pocket is uniqueness. You motherfuckers have fucked up now, but this is, when I was out and I was using that last time, several years ago, I went to places in mental aspect that, I never thought I would return from, and so the last block from the house, I hear it said a lot, I don't know if I go out tomorrow, that's it. I don't fucking know, but I can sit here and say today that the experiences I've had, that this is the only damn thing that's worked for me. And I pray that I don't fuck up and forget that. And that's all I got, thanks.
Thanks for sharing.
Chance on the attic.
Hey, Janice.
I've never really knew a program until this is my first go around with it. And I remember the moment when I decided I wanted to get clean. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know anything about a program, but I didn't get clean then. But I remember, where I was and what I was doing. And my higher power knows I'm an extremist at everything that I do. So like when I was out, and I see now that I have the awareness of some of the stuff, the tools that I had got from the program, I see that he was talking to me a long time before I actually picked up the message that he gave me. But it's like my last 2 years of my addiction was the most exhausting 2 years of my life. As far as and I was like I heard earlier was never a dealer. I was just a consumer. And I thought I was what I called an honest addict. And I worked, and I worked hard for everything that I've ever had. I've been in active addiction pretty much my whole life. But I didn't look at it then as that, but that's what it is now. I said I had 5 years clean without a program, but I also smoking weed and drinking, so it wasn't clean. I just didn't do what my sponsor yells at me about hard drugs. They're all drugs. But when I came into the program, it was like I was in jail, and it was like previous I shared, like I didn't even live in the state when I got in trouble. I just happened to be here, And then when I was in jail for that time, I made a decision and I was just gonna just surrender completely. And that, to an extreme, because like I said, I'm extremist, so it's like I surrendered not just a little bit, but everything. And in just a little bit of time, I got a lot back that I wanted the most. You know what I'm saying? Like my family, mainly, you know, stepped right in. And then everything is falling in place, like everything's falling in place where I was gonna go. Like with pretty much, all I had to do was listen to my higher power. You know what I mean? Like to the messages and the hints that he gave me to follow the next right thing. And I've gotten everything I lost, plus more than I've ever asked for. And I realized that what I lost wasn't mine to begin with, because like what I have now at that state is mine, like a family and stuff like that. But everything else I've grown, like my sponsor fell on me, you know, so like perfect sponsor, you know what I mean? Like, and it was all by just stepping back and letting somebody else take the wheel. Because I spent probably 10 years of my life trying to control everything and wore myself out. And I spent 5 months just sitting back and letting everything happen. And I've gotten more than I've had, like spiritually, material, all of that. In this little bit of time, I have so much more to look forward to. It's all because of the program. You know, I started working the steps, and I just, you know, talk. I hug a newcomer, and I'm a newcomer. You know what I mean? Like, I just grab them, you know, and I talk to them, and I bring them up meetings, and just do what I see everybody else do that I want. And it's amazing. And I know this is my last house, but today I have no desire to get high, you know, and I don't want to lose anything that I have. So for today, I know I'm not. If I feel like tomorrow, what I feel today, that I'll be good tomorrow too. You know, this program and, you know, the meetings I go to and my network and everything's all given at me. And I don't want to lose it. So I'm still on what they call my pink cloud, I guess. But and that's all I got.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm grateful for Governor Ed, also known as Devo.
Hey, Devo.
I've been at this addiction thing for a long time. The first time I realized that I had a problem, I was probably about 9 years old. You know, I started with gateway drugs with sugary drinks and chocolates, pretty much coming up. Advanced, my grandfather, me and my cousins would find his liquor bottles and go by and drink and smoke cigarettes. And from the time I was 9 years old, I can't say that I had 6 months clean in a row. And from the time I turned 13, I went 30 days. And I went through pretty much everything that you could go through. Doing all the things that I said I would never do. And probably in 88, I went to this other fellowship. There were people talking about that, and because I thought I had a substance abuse problem. I quit being a junkie, quit doing all the other things, and I just had this one substance abuse that was continuing, and so I was in there for a little while, but I was short of being entirely ready. And you can take on them words, the first letter of them words, you know what that means. From this fellowship. And I wasn't ready to change, is what it was. I just thought that if I could just quit this particular substance, I'd be all right. Well, you know, I'm not an addict. So I don't need this other program because I'm not an addict. Quit being a junkie. All I am is just a redneck, likes to drink beer, smoke pot. And I'll be good. So that went on for another 15 years or more. And I came in these rooms with a nudge from the judge. Another driver's license being lost for another year. And paying more fines and more probation, and this time they're like, you know, you're going to do time if you fail your probation. So with that nudge from the judge, I started coming to the rooms. I was going to both fellowships. I was a hand up when I got here, and somebody come up to me and asked me if I was 2 people, and I'm like, no, I'm just one person. I said, but I've probably got 2 or 3 personalities. I said, but I'm just one physical being. And he said, well, why don't you just identify yourself like that? instead of identifying yourself as a handout. And I continued both fellowships for a little while, and I got respect for the rooms, and I identify myself with the way, whatever rooms I was in. And after a while, I realized that, you know, even though I wasn't a junkie anymore, I still had those addictive tendencies and everything. And it wasn't the substances I was abusing, it was me, you know. And if I was the problem, there was no solution. And, you know, the very first meeting I went to, when I came to NA, they told me, said, welcome home. You never have to use again. And nobody had ever told me I never had to use again. They told me why I used, and that I shouldn't use, and I better not use, and this is going to happen if you do use. But nobody ever told me that I never had to. Something clicked, and I felt like I was where I belonged at that last house on the block. And I kept hearing that, you know, you're at the last house on the block, welcome home. I couldn't understand that for a long time, and I come to realize after a little while that, yeah, this is the last place I need to be. And it's really the only place I need to be. And today I identify myself accordingly. If my ass is on fire and I need a meeting and I can't find any meeting, I'll go somewhere else. But for me, I've got one disease. I'm one person, I got one disease, and I got one fellowship. And that's Narcotics Anonymous. And it's the last house on the block. I mean, no matter where I go. Whether I go to meetings here, South Georgia, Florida, North Carolina. Matter of fact, next weekend I'll be in North Carolina going to a meeting with my sponsorship family. And it's a wonderful thing, you know, because no matter where I go, they tell me, welcome home. You know, you're here, and they just keep saying, keep coming back. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. And the other fellowship, they tell me, keep coming back too. But I've never heard a solution in there. I always heard about the problems and this, I've lost this, I lost that. I didn't lose a damn thing.
I gave it away.
I gave it all up. I served it up. I said, here, take it. I'd rather be doing this dope than have a house or to have a marriage. And I'd rather be doing the dope than anything else. But when I got here, I'm fortunate. I was 48 years old before I walked in these rooms. I was an active user for over 39 years of some kind of mind-altering, mood-changing substance. And since I got here, I don't know when it happened, but the promise that NA gives has been awarded to me in my life that I lost the desire to use along the way somewhere. I don't know where it was at, but I lost the desire to use, and I found a new way to live. And, I'm only here by grace and mercy of the loving and caring higher power. And grace being all the blessings that I've received in my life, and the mercy being that I didn't get what I deserved. And today I have heart problems from my lifestyle that I live. And see, when I came to the rooms originally, I wanted to continue to live the lifestyle. I just didn't want to do the drugs. But it was the lifestyle. The lifestyle is what's killing me now. And like I say, it was the people in these rooms, once again, not only saved me from my addiction, it saved me from myself. They saved me with 9 years clean from sitting at my house and killing myself. Because basically that's what I was doing. I ended up going, a person that's here at the convention with us tonight said, went to a meeting, he said, you're going to the hospital or I'm dragging your ass to the hospital. And he followed me over there. I had double pneumonia and congestive heart failure 2 years ago. The only good thing that's come out of that is I didn't die and I quit smoking after 48 years, you know. So, and I'm still here today. And like it was saying over here, you know, today I can carry the message of hope. Because that's what was given to me when I got here, was hope. That I never have to use again. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing. We have time for one more short one if anyone wants to share.
My name's Sabrina.
Sabrina.
So, what I've been sitting here thinking about, the last house on the block for me, this house fucking gives me a choice today. And I have the choice of whether I put a substance in my body or whether I don't. And as long as I keep doing the next right thing, then I don't have to put that substance in my body, so I don't ever have to fucking leave this house. But once I put a substance in my body, like, I'm not a person that's gonna use it, come around people who are using. Like, if I'm getting high, I want to be around people who are doing what I'm doing. And that's just how I've always been. So in 2013, I was sentenced. My dad's he's in the other fellowship. He's been sober 40 years. And I've never seen him drink or do drugs. In 2013, he thought he was doing me a favor when I caught this last charge and had me mandated to a halfway house, paid for my attorney. Instead of going up the road, I got a year sentence to a halfway house. And it took me almost 5 years, 4 different halfway houses, twice at one, DRC, PDC, and RSAT before I could complete a year program, and that's what it took for me because I can't do it. The people who can just freaking walk in off the streets and get clean, I admire that because I couldn't. Like, I can't. And when I got out of prison and went to that fourth halfway house, I stayed like a month or two. When I was in RSAT, and I got that, it gave me hope. Like, I took advantage of it. I had this 9-month program, and if I take advantage of the services that are offered through the counseling, that why not, So I took advantage of it, and I made it through the program with no setbacks, and it gave me hope. Like, I knew that I wanted something different in my life, but I didn't know how to fucking get it. Even with my dad being in recovery, like, I didn't know because I lived a different lifestyle than my dad. And so when I was in RSAT, I surrendered, but I surrendered, but my surrender process happened like over a 2-year period. I got high again, but that was the first time after going to RSAT that I knew that I wanted something different. But I didn't know how to get it, so I still got high again. And when I got high again, when I left there, 4 months later after being locked up a year, I went back and did another 10 months and caught a freaking charge for bringing drugs into the jail, and went to that second time of that fourth halfway house, mandated and banished from my home county, and more probation added. And that was just all God because my probation was fixing to expire, and I was going to have nothing, no accountability. And that last halfway house helped me learn how to do things and work and function in society, but it didn't show me how to build a network and get involved outside in recovery. And right before I got ready to complete that program, God put someone in my life who showed me how to have those things outside of a recovery house. And I believe that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here today, because at the halfway house, you just go to I just went to get my sheet signed, to the meetings and that I was required to go to. And to me, it's the recovery exists outside of the recovery house. So today I have a fucking choice, and I choose to not put a substance in my body because I know what happens when I do, and I have been freed of that desire to use. Like, I have no fucking desire. I don't want anything to do with that lifestyle or anybody who lives that lifestyle. Like, it's not me, and that's a miracle today because one little fucking substance, and I'd be lucky to go back to prison. I would be dead. There's no doubt in my mind. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing. I'd like to thank everybody who shared. It's been a great workshop tonight. I know we're all tired, but the night is still young, I think. I'm gonna keep going. Anyway, let's go 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 going.